Hi everyone, so today I'll be showing you guys how to make a typical Japanese breakfast. And so in this video I'll be including baked fish, miso soup, tsukemono, natto, veggies, and white rice. And for those who don't know what tsukemono and what natto are, tsukemono basically translates over from Japanese to pickled things or pickled vegetables. And so in this video, I'll be including pickled white radish, which is takuan, and pickled plum, which is umeboshi. And you might recognize umeboshi as like the little red spot thing on like the bowl of rice, for example, in like the bento emoji. I'll put like a reference up here or something. And or if you watch anime and you sometimes see like food being served, and yeah, you might recognize it in that as well if you know what I'm talking about, for those who watch anime. And natto is basically a traditional Japanese food. It's fermented soybeans, and a lot of people might compare the smell of it to sweaty gym socks, and texture is actually quite slimy and stringy and sticky. And even though that sounds really unappealing, the more you eat it, you'll get used to it, and personally I love it. And it's also really filled with like a lot of good nutrients, for example vitamin K2, and it's like a good source of dietary fiber and has a lot of probiotics in it, so it's overall good for your heart and bone health. So you should try it for the sake of it being really good for you anyways. So yeah, so I'll stop talking and let's get on to the video. Firstly, we'll go ahead and make the miso soup. To make 2 servings of miso soup, we'll need 300 milliliters of water, 1 tablespoon of miso paste, kombu, which is a seaweed stock, but you can also use fish or chicken stock, dried seaweed, tofu, and green onions. We'll start off by cutting the green onions into thin slices. Make sure to leave extra green onions for later when we make the natto. As well, cut the tofu into cubes. Today I'll only be using half the tofu, so I'll save the rest for next time. Then let's add our water into our pot and turn the heat on to high. Once it starts boiling, add in your stock. Here I'm adding about 4 grams of kombu, but this will vary depending on what kind of stock you're using and how strong you like your soup to be. Now let's turn the temperature onto low before adding in the miso. Otherwise, the soup could give off a bitter flavor if you boil the miso at a high temperature. When adding in your miso, I like to use a small ladle or spoon in order to help dissolve the miso paste into the broth. Once that's done, we can sprinkle in our dried seaweed, green onions, and add the tofu. And now we're done our miso. Now let's go ahead and cook the salmon. I bought a piece of salmon that was already salted, but if you don't have salted salmon available in the store, you can go ahead and sprinkle some salt on before cooking it. Instead of baking the salmon, we're actually going to pan fry the salmon on a piece of parchment paper. Place your salmon skin side down and cook it on medium heat for about 4 minutes. Then flip it and reduce the temperature to low and let it cook for another 8 minutes. Once the time is up, remove the salmon from the pan. Now that we cooked our salmon, let's make the natto. First, I'm going to microwave my natto for about 20 to 25 seconds since it was stored in the freezer. Then I'm going to add in the sauce and mustard that it comes along with, and as well add in some of the green onions we previously cut. Now mix well. As you mix the natto, the consistency will become sticky and slimy. After the natto is mixed, let's move on to cutting the veggies and tsukemono. I'm just going to be using takuan, umeboshi, cucumbers, and baby tomatoes. This part is pretty straightforward, but I'm just going to cut the takuan and pickles into thin slices and cut the baby tomatoes in half. Now that we're done, we can put everything onto the dishes. As for the rice, I'm just using the rice I made from the night before since I usually don't have time to cook it in the morning. And now we're all done. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys learned something, especially for those who aren't that familiar with Japanese food. I hope you guys found this interesting, or this made you want to try out Japanese food in general. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any comments or questions at all, please leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!